like I've had friends who weren't into it either, and when they saw it in that setting, they're like, oh shit, I get it now. You know what I mean? It's like this. It creates energy. I don't know, there's something about it. You know what I mean?
It must be all the ecstasy too.
Yeah, right? It's probably the ecstasy and the horny 27-year-olds.
Today we talk about.
So when did you start your other podcast?
So Beats and Booze, that was the first one I started. That one, that was probably 3 years ago, I want to say.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
2 or 3 years ago. That one was just like, it's more of an EDM-based podcast, but we've started to interview a lot of other people outside of that. But that was the initial start because we kind of saw there was nobody in New York in our company that was bothering to interview a lot of these really big DJs that were coming through.
Are you a big EDM fan though?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a fan of all music.
Actually, as a DJ, I feel like that's got to be like half your catalog.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, I love it, but I mean, I love everything. But I would always go down to like Miami for like the Miami Music Week, and like you're wearing an 11 shirt right now. Like I was hanging out those things. I was involved in that world. And then, it was just kind of like, well, nobody's doing it. We want to start a podcast, me and a couple of the guys I would travel with. And we were just like, well, nobody's doing that. And my Flips, who is also my manager, he pitched the idea of like, hey, I've always wanted to do an EDM thing. I have a couple contacts because he would also he worked for the iHeart's EDM station, which is like our online platform. Right. But even when they brought people up, it wasn't an interview. It was just kind of like they would cut like liners basically, and that was it. They would just be like, "Hey, it's Sander Van Doorn, and you're listening to Evolution," and that was all they would come up to do.
Gotcha.
So he was like, "I have like these people's emails, like, and they come up. We can just try to get them to do an interview." And like that's when everything kind of just started rolling. Like it was so much easier than we thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that started 3 years ago, and that like just opened up so many doors and so many pathways, for what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah, because I noticed that because you had like Alesso on. Yeah. You had, but I also saw like Joji was on there too.
Yeah, we had Joji, like the whole 88 Rising guys have had G-Eazy on there, Lenny Kravitz, which is a random one. But yeah, it was like once we started catching ground with that, like then other people, pop people started hitting us up. They started taking notice, and they're, because a lot of this stuff kind of crosses over as well. Like Selena Gomez has a record with Marshmello, and then that kind of intertwines,
Yeah.
So once people started doing that, they kind of, we built up our name, and especially me DJing for Z100. I had a lot of relationships with those record labels as well. So like once they kind of saw we were doing this, they trusted us, to have their artists come in.
Gotcha. And actually, I want to switch gears over to the DJ thing because you mentioned it. I don't know anything about the DJ world.
Okay.
What I've heard is that it's a dying business.
Yeah.
That it's just it used to be one thing and now it's not. You think of the iconic names of DJs and you don't really hear new upcoming DJs with the same kind of clout. So, what's like the inner world of a DJ and what's involved? Common misconceptions, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's dying. I would say it's a lot more competitive.
Okay.
So when it becomes more competitive, that means prices are more competitive. You know what I mean? Like prices go down, and maybe it's not as lucrative for some people as it once was. You definitely need to have some sort of platform to stand on. I think especially in the New York, New Jersey area, there's so many DJs.
Right.
There's a lot of nightlife, but a lot of cheap people, a lot of cheap bar owners and club owners. So you have to kind of have like, I'm lucky I have the radio platform to, be able to ask for a little bit more money.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, it's definitely a highly competitive game. You have to have something. Definitely producing music will help build up your, platform as well and give them a reason to want to book you. But yeah, I mean, it's not the same as it was, I'm sure, for a lot of guys who were out there DJing, 5 nights a week and doing that. I mean, some people still do that, but it's few and far in between.
How often do you do it?
With my schedule, I usually DJ about twice a week.
Okay.
But and honestly, I don't even mind doing it that much. I think I would probably shoot myself if I was doing it 5 days a week. But I mean, it's tough, and it's also the genres change. So like EDM had that boom, and everybody was DJing EDM,
Right.
and then hip hop made a comeback, so people started DJing that, and those who weren't able to make that transition kind of started to fall off. You know, so definitely if you didn't have the skill of being able to DJ all kinds of genres, then it's harder for you out there right now for sure. Right. And I'm lucky that I was just always a fan of everything, and I always kind of wanted to figure out how to do whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say I want to know your answer to the common misconception, or I always hear it as a joke amongst musical friends of mine who just don't either respect DJs and or like EDM type DJs, like your Alessos, your Avicii's, rest in peace.
Absolutely.
They treat it just like, because a lot of my friends who are musically inclined, play guitar, play drums, whatever, they're just like a lack of respect for like that part of it where they're just like, yo, the guy just shows up and boom,
Right,
hits
yeah,
the button.
press
Like,
spacebar on his laptop. Yeah. I love this question. So I grew up playing drums in a band. So
Okay.
I was.
so he's legit, folks.
Yeah,
So
I was
he's-
a quote unquote real musician. But I think if you're looking at it from that perspective, then you're looking at it from the wrong lens. So a DJ, like, yeah, I'm not like, playing guitar or playing drums, but my instrument is sort of like more so, it's a way of creating energy in a room. You know what I mean? Like a good DJ knows how to curate the vibe of a room and like without people telling him.
I was gonna say that's the thing that's impressed me most about DJs, because I remember I've gone to parties where there's a DJ and they're either taking requests or like trying to shove people out of the way that are being assholes, right? And you're dealing with all that. Plus, you're like trying to feel out the energy of a room. Absolutely. And be like, okay, what song needs to follow which? And like, I'm sure there's a lot of thought that goes into it that the average club goer doesn't really even.
Yeah, I mean,
think
you have no idea. I mean, like if you walk to a cold room, basically, like when people are just getting in, like you have to know how to slowly build it up. You're not playing the hottest records in the club, like fucking at 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Like you have to let the room build. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're only playing old stuff. And it's like, well, it's 10 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to waste your good
Put
record.
on Tekashi right now.
Yeah, it's like, dude, no. Like, you don't want to walk to a club and, like, it's empty and you're just trying to get your first drink and, like, everything's just, pumping. Like, you have to build up the night. And a good DJ knows how to start building it up. You're watching people's reactions. You're going, off of that. And you're creating the night. I think that's what it is. Like, if I'm in a band, you have your set list and you play your set list. If people hate you, they hate you. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But as a DJ, you have the ability to adjust, and a good DJ adjusts to any situation as it kind of comes up. Like whatever the crowd is feeling. And on a given night, like a record that crushed for you the night before might flop the next night, and you have to know how to react to that. You're curating the energy in the room basically, and that's what makes it hard, and that's what makes it interesting. Anybody, I could show you how to DJ, in a few weeks, and you can
show up with a Spotify playlist.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You could do it on shuffle, put a Spotify playlist, but you know what, like. If people in the room aren't necessarily feeling that playlist the same way they might have been the other night, then you're fucked because all you have is that playlist. So it's like that. That's what makes a good DJ, and that's what makes it different from like you're not just a guy pressing play. You're actually a curator, and you're supposed to be. You have to be able to read people's like energy and read their body language, and that's what's kind of tough. Right.
Do you feel like you also factor in random things like a lot of girls here tonight, I gotta play this way, or the fight just broke out, so I gotta
Yeah. I mean, the goal, if any like single guy at a club, is to get with a girl, right? So like the girls are who you want to make sure they're having fun. Also, the girls are the ones that are more inclined to start dancing first. So you're playing to them, and once you get like a group of girls dancing, then you're going to see the guys come over and start, filling the dance floor little by little, and more people are going to join. So yeah, you're always aiming towards the girls. And just to go back a little bit about the EDM part, I'm not going to shit on EDM DJs, but like a lot of them were producers first. Then they just needed a way to play music, and then they just play. Then that's what they started picking up DJing. So yeah, I would say a lot of those guys are not. I wouldn't consider them real DJs because they do show up with a pre-planned set. They play it, and that's all they really can do.
Yeah, because that's all you see in the videos. Them just behind this big, massive looking thing like this, and they're just like.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, listen, there are a lot of them that just do that, and like they can't deviate from it because that's all they know.
Right.
I mean, but you have a guy like Diplo who's both a really good DJ and a producer, and you don't know what the hell you're getting from on a night because he's just kind of going off and doing what he does.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there are a lot of guys who I would say like, yeah, they're just like producers and they press play, and you know what to expect.
And you fucking hate their guts.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck every single one of them.
Yeah, we're not building any bridges today.
No, I mean Hardwell sucks. I will say that.
I mean, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah,
I don't follow music all that closely. Like, I'm the kind of guy who I'll find a song I like on Spotify that just happened to come on, or I overheard from somebody that I Shazam it, and I will play that song ad nauseum forever. We're talking like months. We'll go months to listen to the same one song.
Yeah.
Every day, multiple times a day, it's just on. Like, it annoys people, That's just kind of like my sensibility with music. So I haven't been very musically inclined. But it's kind of interesting the way you're describing the way you like kind of curate the set list and play to the crowd, because I definitely feel that way as a comedian. It's just like I have to read the room. I have to be okay. What jokes are going to work with what crowds? You know what I mean? Like, is this a biker bar? Is this a gay bar? Is this there are a lot of women here that maybe some Trump jokes won't go over so well.
Right? Yeah. No, dude. So, it's literally the same exact thing. Right. You have to know your audience without really knowing your audience. You know what I mean? It's like really on the fly type of stuff. You're just adjusting. You know what I mean?
And it's probably a lot more difficult for you because it's not like you get a warm up act. Like you are the warm up act and the closer and everything. Whereas with me, as long as like 2-3 comedians have gone up before me, I can be like, okay, I kind of get the vibe of this room.
Yeah, I mean, it's like hit or miss. Sometimes sometimes there might be an opener where I go somewhere, but also it's like if there's a shitty opener, that makes it even harder.
Oh, is there such a thing as openers for like DJs and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes you have an opener, and if they're not good, it can really fuck things up because then it's like, well, now you have a packed room, and nobody's having fun. So now I have to I can't even go into playing good stuff. I have to kind of now go do the beginners, the opener's job, and then get back into my set.
Gotcha.
So that whole thing kind of makes it tough. I mean, the one thing I would say is you may not notice if you're not really paying attention. You might not notice how good of a DJ somebody is, but if they're really shitty, you're gonna notice that. You know what I mean? If the vibe in the room sucks because of the music, you're definitely gonna notice that. You know?
And so you mentioned how you're trying to play to the girls, and obviously the single guys are trying to hook up. So this is all part of the dynamic. Do you ever work gay clubs or gay bars, and do you notice a different vibe or a different technique that needs to happen as far as curating?
I DJ on a regular basis at a gay bar in Jersey City, New Jersey, and it's honestly the most fun I have for DJing. I think that crowd goes to the dance floor earlier. You know what I mean? They don't have to get wasted to start dancing. You know, I think in that community, that they don't have their inhibitions aren't don't have many. At that point, I think they've. I don't want to get too deep into psychology or anything, but I think they've probably dealt with enough shit of having to worry about watching their back or what people think, that at this point they don't give a fuck. When they're in their environment, they're free, they're be themselves, and they're just there to have a good time.
Right.
So they go crazy, and I think for them, what's interesting is I think the gay crowd is very similar to what I would say the basic white girl crowd is. They love the Ariana Grandes, the Cardi B's, the Beyonces, and that kind of shit. Which is cool. But I mean, and they love house music. But I think it's an interesting dynamic because the older gay crowd definitely wants the dancier Whitney Houston, that kind of stuff, and then you have this new younger generation that loves the Cardi B's and the City Girls and all that twerk stuff. So it's a fun, but it's just fun, honestly. Yeah. People there, it's the most fun. People are there to have a good time. They don't really care. They're not concerned with how they look, as far as oh, my bad dance or anything like that.
Right.
The dance floor fills up early and people just have a blast until it closes, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's weird because I remember I'm not a big club goer or anything like that. Even lounges and stuff, okay, yeah, I get it. But it's not my cup of tea, really. But part of that was me going or getting invited for someone's birthday or something, and I just go there. It's okay, here's 8 of us, most of which we don't know each other. We just kind of know the one guy or girl, and we're all just going to stand here around this table in the dark and dance to the music.
Right.
All right, this is fun,
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about table bottle service. I'm not, obviously I like free alcohol, but it's not the same experience. You're kind of just standing there. Unless you're with a group of people that you really just want to hang out and kind of talk to. To me, that's not the way to do a club. It's you want to be on the dance floor. You want to be in kind of the thick of it all to really get it and to have a good time. Right. Those are my most fun nights.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel you definitely probably have a different appreciation for it simply from a music perspective too. Because any of my friends, I have a friend who used to DJ just recreationally, and obviously he got super into EDM. He got me into EDM because before that I was just what is this?
Right, what is this noise?
And and then I mean, he's always the type to want to go to a club, but I feel it lends itself to that kind of environment because of that kind of music being probably more predominant.
Yeah, I mean, I think the dance music is best heard in a club. I mean, to me, that's the only way you really get it is when you see it in that live environment in a club and you feel the energy of the room. That's when I think people start really I've had friends who weren't into it either, and when they saw it in that setting, they go, "Shit, I get it now." You know what I mean? It's it creates energy. I don't know something about it. You know what I mean?
It must be all the ecstasy too.
Yeah, it's probably the ecstasy and the horny 27-year-olds.
Oh yeah, I've seen some very pretty women there.
Yeah,
so I'm sure that's definitely a draw too.
Yeah, I mean that helps give you a reason to leave the house.